Guten Tag, willkommen. Ich bin Brian Welch und das ist der Brian Welch Videoblog. Episode 8. Nein! 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 It's episode 9. That is a long way to go for a word joke, but not the farthest I've ever gone. I want to start off this episode with a disclaimer because I had a complaint from someone who I would describe as privately a friend, publicly an antagonist. I'm not going to give his name. He knows who he is. He'll probably own up to it. He made a comment on episode 8, and he had a problem with the length of it. And then he said, title idea. I want to get this right. I'm reading verbatim from my Facebook. The Brian Welch, I make empty promises about time limits and throw them out the window video blog. And I was so proud of my response that I wanted to reiterate it here because I don't think I got a big enough audience. I said, it was my understanding that promises are things that you say to people to make them like you. Now, one of the big reasons, I've talked to you about a couple of the reasons that I started this blog. One of the other ones is that for all my insecurities, I am pretty narcissistic about my sense of humor and my humor, my comedy. And I often feel like things that I share with individuals didn't get a big enough audience. And so I record them for posterity, hopefully for prosperity, sometime in the future here, who knows. And so this is a word of warning. The more time that you and I, spend together out there in the real world, the more likely it is that you will find one of our conversations reproduced in whole or in part here on the blog. And don't take that personally. That is just, think of it as you got an inside look at my creative process. You saw where I got the idea. I do them first with individuals, then they come here to the blog. And I'm using you sort of as a test audience, and that's what friends are for, right? Anyway, I want to talk to you, and that disclaimer goes out especially to my friend Pete. Pete's a great guy. He hosted a party last night. Pete, I want to tell you about Pete's party, specifically my contribution, how I was involved, specifically how difficult it is for me to buy ice cream. All right, so Pete hosts a lot of dinners, and he's a terrific host. He's a fabulous host. I've never had a complaint with him. I've never gotten a complaint that I know about. And the only thing is that he knows people from lots of different realms, from different areas, and so every time I show up, I meet several new people, and I think, well, I got this on lock for next time. And then there's new people each time, and so there's much more on my shoulders, much more that I put on my shoulders, that I feel like I have to at least be liked by these people, if not impress them with how funny I am. And so Pete hosts all these dinners. He encourages people to make it like a potluck style, and you bring a part of the dinner, and so it sort of defrays the cost for him because he's hosting and he's fronting, a lot of money, and I understand, I get that. It makes a lot of sense. And so he said, well, we got plenty of food. Can you bring, some dessert, like some ice cream or something? I said, yeah, sure, I can bring ice cream. So I go, I stop by Hiller's on my way there, and I go inside, and I realize that I can't buy ice cream just by myself. I'm sitting there in the freezer just looking at and there's a lot of ice cream. I'm just looking at all the ice cream and just like, what are people thinking that I'm by myself looking at tubs of ice cream? And you can't buy ice cream by yourself. You have to be with your girlfriend, who I don't have, who I've misplaced, or with like 4 other people, and you're just like, yeah, let's get some ice. You can't just be sitting there by yourself like, which flavor do I want to get? It's a lot of ice cream. And on top of that, I spent longer looking at all the ice cream than I wanted to, because I'm just like, I don't know who's going to be at this party, and I'm sure there's going to be at least one person who's like, you didn't get organic ice cream? Do you know the chemicals? Read the ingredients. You can't even pronounce some of the things that go into making that ice cream. So I'm just like, I gotta get a decent brand. And then I'm like, I worked at a grocery store one summer, and it's like, there's always a brand on sale, and I'm not paying full price for a brand. So I'm looking for a reasonable brand that's on sale, and then I got to pick a flavor. And I'm thinking, what if people don't like chocolate and they hate me? What if people don't like vanilla and they hate me? What if they don't like either and I brought Neapolitan and they just throw me out of the house? And I'm like, well, even worse than that, what if there are people there with nut allergies? So many people have nut allergies now. I mean, it's just all the rage. You got to have a nut allergy or know someone who has one, or you're not getting anywhere in this life, in this world. And then I'm like, well, that limits so many kinds of ice creams. And so eventually, I was just, it was like, because if I brought someone has a peanut allergy, and I brought like the Breyers Snickers ice cream, that's like offering her hemlock. That's like, hey, it's nice to meet you. My name's Brian. Would you care for some poison? No? Is it me? So finally, I'm looking around, and Edie's, thank you so much, Edie, for making this. Edie's has Thin Mint ice cream. Not just mint ice cream, but Girl Scout Thin Mint ice cream. And I'm just like, perfect! This is the best, and because like Thin Mints are always statistically the first Girl Scout cookie to sell out. I'm sure that you talk to some Girl Scouts who've crunched the numbers, they'll tell you Thin Mints are the number one. I'm like, this paints a broad enough stripe across whoever is coming that if there's a few dissenters, they'll find something else. Somebody will have brought something else. It'll be fine. I'm so proud of this. I almost told the guy on the way out, I was like, let me tell you, this is the best ice cream. I've really made a good decision here, but I didn't. And so I got over there. I got there early, it turns out, and it was only Pete, the host, and one of the guests. And so I explained all this process that I went through picking this ice cream, and they agreed that was a very good choice. And so we put it in the freezer because it's ice cream. Guests start showing up. One of the last guests to show up, she brings a pie. And it's a 5-berry pie. It's not blueberry pie, it's not cherry pie, it's 5-berry pie. And she's telling us all about it, but she didn't even make it. She purchased it. She bought this pie. And I'm like, she's got nothing. If I'd been closer to the freezer, I would open the door and pull out and it's like, Thin Mint ice cream, look what I did! But I didn't know that many people there, so if it was friends, I would have done it. I would have, thrown it and just like, look what I did. My money was used better than yours. But I didn't know them. They're basically strangers. So I held back. We have a wonderful dinner. All compliments to everybody who brought food for the dinner. And everybody goes, well, geez, I gotta get going. I gotta feed the hog, I got a jet, got stuff to do on a Sunday night. And so they all left in a span of about 15 minutes, and I wanted to run out into the driveway like, but Thin Mint ice cream, I don't care if you don't eat any, just tell me what a good idea this was. Again, I didn't, because a lot of my ideas I never execute. And so it got down to, it was me, Pete, and one other guest, and we said, screw it, we just ate the whole tub. And it was delicious. Thank you, Edie. Thank you, Girl Scouts, for inventing the Thin Mint. That's all I got, folks. So I'm going to say adios, or should I say, auf Wiedersehen.